Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. It would seem that we have a conclusion coming up with our saga of Alan the Canadian, the expat that was in trouble. Let me give you a quick recount. This man turned up at our door up in the mountains. First of all, he came to the church, or to my friend's place, Brian, and then he came to the church, and then he found us here on our hilltop. So, what was his story? His story was that he'd had a lot of money taken from him. When he thought that he was getting his visa done, he entrusted that to someone else. They took a great deal of money, in excess of 70,000 pesos, and he was left with a passport that was empty. Okay, so it didn't have anything in it other than his legal entry, which was some 3 years or so ago. Now, he realized that he was in some trouble and he needed the money to be able to leave the country. Now, can we cut to the present time, because all the rest of it is almost like conjecture, stories. He said this, I said that, and it's not going anywhere, or wasn't. So finally we sent him back to Manila in order to sort his problems out. We have an incredibly kind, compassionate, generous man who is one of our solid subscribers, and we call him Little Bit Rich. Little Bit Rich said, "I'm concerned, my focus is on the partner, the young woman, and a very young child, barely 2 years old." So that has always been his focus. So let me reiterate that. The focus has always been on the child. A lot of you got a lot tied up with this, well, this storyteller of a man, has to be said, and I've used that about myself sometimes as a fun idea about creating my fictional stories. I've said a teller of tall tales, some of them true, because some of my stories are based in truth. Now, here's a good liar. A good liar weaves into the lie some truth. It's always the way. Now, the trouble with lying is that once you get caught in a lie, the question for the person who catches you, the question is this the first lie that this person has told to me, or is it just the last one that he told that I've caught him in? And that's where trust breaks down and is almost irrevocable. It's almost irretrievable, I should say. Beth has an analogy which works for her. She says, once the mirror is cracked, the crack is always there. You can put it all back together again, it's always a cracked mirror. So she says that while forgiveness is a must for oneself, actually moving on and behaving as if nothing had happened is usually an almost impossible task. So a lot of the elements of the story that this man told us didn't seem quite right. Now he went back to Manila, and we didn't hear from him for a little while, and then our sponsor, Little Bit Rich, said, "I want you to get in touch with him and tell him that we want to have the email addresses and phone numbers of what he said were his children, his 2 grown-up children, a woman and a man, and wanted the phone number so that he could verify what the story was as far as they knew." Alan refused and said, "No, I don't want my children to be bothered." So that kind of put him out on a limb, didn't it? So what was the next thing that came up? Well, he wanted to come back to Bohol. And his offer was incredible, that he should consider that he is in a position to make any offers, since it is not my trust, my level of trust, or Beth's that is in question, or certainly not Little Bit Rich. But he said that he would show documentation showing that his story was verifiable as soon as he got back, which would mean that we would have to take yet another leap of faith and send him 5,000 pesos in order to get his plane back, his air ticket, and I don't know, taxes at the airport, anything that he might need in order to get home. Well, we thought about that, and between the three of us, we said, no, send the documents by email. That was put to him, and he refused. He refused that too, amazingly. And he said, I won't send them by email because they are personal and private and confidential, and I don't want anybody else to see them. Oh, okay. Well, we can promise that no one will see them. No, I'll show them to you when I get back, which, as I said, involved coughing up of another 5 grand to help him to get back, in order to see if he would come through with his promise of showing the documents. So our turn to say no. We said no. No docs, no money. And there it stood for a little while, for quite a few days. He has told us, there's no problem, I'll show you the documents as soon as I get back. I'll show them to Terence personally. Plus, you can go ahead and book the ticket any time before the 13th of June. Thank you. That was very kind of you, Alan. So, actually, strangely enough, we didn't go ahead and book the ticket. And we gave him the ultimatum that we felt was perfectly reasonable. And we said, no docs, no money. Well, he must have mulled that over. And finally, today, we received a phone call. We received several phone calls, and at first I told Beth I'm not interested in having a conversation with him. There's nothing to say, no docs, no money. But finally we were actually sitting in the car and the phone went, and Beth handed me the phone. So we're on speakerphone. I say, hello Alan, how are you? Well, not that great. Okay, well, I'm okay. I didn't go into any of the questions which many of you have posed of how on earth is he living there if he has no money. You can't, Manila is not a city to live if you have no money. Well, let's face it, there are some things which we will never know, especially about this man. Get used to it, live with it, deal with it. You're never going to know the whole truth. So help me. So the conversation goes into the story again, launched straight in. There's a verbal diarrhea about this guy that can't be ignored. I listened to that for a minute, and then I said, hold on, stop talking and listen. No money is coming to you, not one single centavo, until you send by email a copy or a picture of the document that you received showing interaction with either the embassy or immigration, showing that there is some kind of finalized agreement. And he said, I can't send it because it's... And he went through the same old thing. I said, look, no document, no money. That's it. There's no more talking. That's it. So he said, well, can you promise me that it will be confidential? I don't want it to be spread out on YouTube and all of that. I said, look, there's no problem on that. your personal details are not really of any great importance or interest. Did you go to immigration? Did you get an agreement with them that you could stay until the 13th of June is what we're talking about? And he said, yes, I have that document. I said, now. He said, will you promise that no one else will see it? I said, between Beth and me and our friend Little Bit Rich, who is funding your trip back to Canada, we will not show that document around. It's not really of any interest, you know, what size your pajamas are or your underwear or when you went. It's just not. It's not a riveting part of the story. So yes, no problem, absolute promise, and that's what we promised, and that's what we will do, because the details are really to be found in any similar situation. It's not a private thing where they go into it. Alan, as you've got blue eyes and crooked teeth, we're going to make a special case of you because you did that. It's not happening. It's an ordinary form letter that is sent to anyone who has drastically overstayed their welcome and needs to get the hell out of the country. No big secret, okay? So that's the form that he sent. As soon as it was firmly established that there was no money for no doc, he sent the document. We looked at it. It is as he claimed. He has until the 13th of June to get out of the country, and there will be penalties. The penalties are not special. They're not going to paint his gums green. There's nothing special. They'll just handle him. I mean, if he's not out, I mean, they'll just come and take him. So he's going to be out because he has a ticket guaranteed by Little Bit Rich. The next step is that we will send him money for his ticket tomorrow. Many of you will throw your arms up at this and say, this man is a scammer, you should never enable a scammer. Well, here's the focus repeated once again. The child and the young woman are the focus in this case. All that we're really interested in is putting him on a plane and watching it go like that. And that's what we'll do. So, not the end of the story, but certainly what Beth would say, it's almost near. So that's it. He will be back very soon. We will get him on a plane very soon, giving him humanly time to make his goodbyes, to spend last moments with his child, and all of those other things which, as a compassionate person, and Beth too, we would not want to deprive him of that. But it will be a lot sooner than the 13th of January. 13th of January is the last day before they come round and pick him up. He's going to be gone a long time before that. But as I say, on compassionate grounds, we will allow him to get his affairs in order. This is hopefully putting the Canadian case to rest, and we'll keep you informed. We'll show you a video of the plane taking off, and probably Alan doing this at the window. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for looking in. Bye for now.